Good evening, everybody. My name's Tom Stoukas, coming to you live from Sarnia, Ontario, on June 21st on a Saturday night. And it's not 4th of July yet, but the rockets are flying at Iran. So just before it started on tonight, Trump put out the Truth Social post, heard around the world. Of course, I can't find it now. We have completed. Oh, sorry. We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on the way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace, capitals. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So yeah, that just broke the internet just an hour ago, of course. And it's crazy if you're watching Fox News is having like a war orgasm. They've been building up to this for a couple weeks now. And they're going all nuts. And see if you see it there. I'll show it. Oh, there. They're going nonstop since it broke that Iran got bombed. Right. So there you go. It's crazy. And they're acting like the news of this bombing. The news of this bombing is like it's mission accomplished, like they think, okay, Trump, he took out their nuclear sites, and he's basically sending a message saying, don't bother rebuilding them because I'm just going to bomb them again. Oh, what happened? Oh, everybody's watching the news. So he's just going to bomb them again, okay? So technically, now Israel really has no reason to believe Iran's going to nuke them because the U.S. has basically put out a doctrine that says we're going to keep doing bombing the nuclear stuff, and that's it. But the question is, that's President Trump to address the nation at 10 p.m., okay? So the question is it a one and done, right? Like, and a lot of Americans and a lot of Trump supporters are saying, oh, mission accomplished, like when George Bush went on the aircraft carrier during the initial invasion of Iraq and had the big mission accomplished banner, but thousands of Americans were killed and wounded following that. So it feels like they're doing like the mission accomplished thing a little, prematurely again, because what's going to happen now, it's going to be interesting because, like I said, technically Israel has no reason to have a problem with Iran now because they're defanged nuclear wise. So, but I have a feeling that the nuclear thing was not just the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is regime change. Ultimate goal. Because they're going to say, this is what they're going to say, okay, if Trump is doing this policy now, but what happens when a new president comes, right? So Israel's going to say, we have to change the regime before that happens. So it's basically moving the goalposts. And like Americans are acting like there's not going to be any consequences to this. What he did tonight, like there's going to be consequences. It depends what kind of consequences. Like there's always consequences. Like if Iran doesn't really respond to this, they might as well just flee the country because like they're pretty well useless. Like it's kind of weird. And I know the Israelis would love to put the Shah's son in. I don't know a lot about Iranian politics. I know the Greek king was hated by the Greeks, so I don't know how the Shah is with the Persian, with the Iranian population. So I think ultimately regime change is still the goal. Like, but a lot of the Trump supporters, like the MAGA, I don't know what they are now, but they think this isn't going to be a real. This is like a video game war. It's like we did our bombing run and it's over. So, and it very well may be. That might be the extent of Trump's involvement, but all it takes is one attack on a U.S. missile site or a U.S. Army base in the region where Americans will die, like let's say 10 Americans, and then they're going to get hit again. And then maybe the U.S. will attack them again, maybe in a non-nuclear facility. And it could escalate, and then next thing you know, U.S. has boots on the ground on the western part of the country, which is close to their base in the other Middle East states. And the aircraft carriers that are coming, they're still coming, the aircraft carriers. They ain't turning around. There's another aircraft carrier group coming next week. So they use Tomahawk missiles and bunker busters. Like, come on. And Americans think, look at the smile on her face. She's loving it. It's like there's a glee in their faces tonight. It's kind of disturbing, really. And like, so basically it seems like they feel like this is it. Trump blew his load on the nuclear sites, and he could walk away and said, look, I said they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. I did that. I did what I said I was going to do, and boom, done. But I have a feeling that this will be the first step into a regime change operation by the U.S. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think this mission accomplished is kind of weird. It's weird. Like, how do you do that? Trump hasn't even talked to the nation, which he is going to do in less than an hour. So I think there's two scenarios. This is the only night of bombing by the U.S. It was like a one and done. Or this is the first set of, the first salvo in the Iran-U.S. war. Right? So that's the two ways it's going to go. I think Israel wants the regime change, so they want this to keep going. And the only way it keeps going is if there's escalatory actions by both sides. And it keeps going, and there's a regime change. And for regime change, you're going to have U.S. troops in that eastern part of where they see the water, the Persian Gulf there. U.S. has a lot of troops in that area. So they can take a boat over and land. And that's where all Iran's oil fields are, on that western part. A lot of oil fields. So they can come and take those over. That'll choke the regime right out. And then, but the thing is, if they do this regime change, other countries like Pakistan and all them might get nervous and say, hey, we don't like this going. Like, I mean, it could go so many sideways, so many ways. So, but it's just weird. The U.S. It's on, at least on Fox, the glee on their faces. They're so happy. Scott Jennings, of course, he's probably happy. U.S. enters Iran-Israel conflict. So, like, Fox is portraying it more like a big one and done, basically. Mission accomplished. CNN's more of along the lines of what I said, is like, this is the start. And I think it is. Like, I just don't see this U.S. and Israel at the present state of the governments resting until they have a total regime change. I think they have already made that decision. Because you know what they're going to say? Oh, we bombed look, we bombed all these buildings, but they could rebuild them, or they could get a bomb from Pakistan. Now that'll be the new talking point. So they don't even need the nuclear facilities. They could just get it from Pakistan and trade them oil for it. Totally, that's what they're going to say. So, I mean, whether they're right or wrong, the regime change, I think the regime change works from within. But whether they're right or wrong, they're going to do it. And whether they're successful or not, they're going to try and do it, I mean. And they seem pretty cocky, like they think they control Iran, basically. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't think they do, because it's like full of mountains, if you see the map there. It's like the whole country's mountains. Like, they've probably been digging in for years. Years. It's crazy. It's crazy. It could get really, totally ugly. But I don't think the American people see it that way. They see it. I think they see it like a video game, PS5, new edition of what's that? Call of Duty. So it'll be interesting to see what Trump says at 10 o'clock Eastern. It'll be interesting whether if there's like any forward-looking statements, like what the next, if there's any next moves planned, or if this is going to be his basically saying, because really, does he really need to bomb anymore? He's basically destroyed the sites, or at least rendered them unoperable for years, and all he has to do is bomb them again. So if Iran might as well just give up on the nuclear development in those facilities, because they're just going to keep getting bombed. So, but it's going to be more. It's more than that. Like, they want the regime gone. But we'll see. Those are the two possibilities. Let's see what Al Jazeera says here. I don't even know if this is legal to. Oh, God. Rough day today. So, I think I'm interested in where it's going to go for in the next few hours, next few days, next few weeks. Because U.S. has been, it's weird. They've been at war with Iran basically for a week or so. A week since the thing with Israel started, because they've been helping Israel the whole time. They lied about it during the negotiations. Trump, the way he sounded like Gandhi. Like, oh, we're going to do a peace deal. And all that. Like, it was, the U.S. strikes Iran, big letters there. The holy shit headline from Al Jazeera. And, yeah, he was sounding like Gandhi, Nelson Mandela or whatever. And obviously it was totally fake. And I thought, okay, he's just negotiating. He's being... But I didn't... like, once Israel started bombing them, before... like, then you knew something was off about the whole thing. So... and when he says peace, now is the time for peace, he means now is the time for you guys to leave, because we're going to keep doing whatever the hell we want. We're going to keep bombing the shit out of you. And if you do one little thing against us in retaliation or against Israel, we're going to keep bombing the shit out of you. So that's what he says is now is the time for peace. So, and whether he's right or wrong, I guess history will judge, you know. But it could get ugly is what I'm saying. Trump says Iran must now agree to end this war following U.S. strikes. So what does Iran have to do to to agree to end the war. So no nuclear. It's all blown up. That's not a hard one. U.S. strikes Iran. It'll be interesting to see what Trump says at 10. It's crazy stuff. I just can't, like I said, I feel like there's more to come to this. Like, the nuclear thing was the thing that they justified all this. So, like, from what I can see is it's the message has been sent that those are going to keep getting bombed. And nobody in the international community is going to say shit about it. So basically, the nuclear issue's been settled, as far as I'm concerned, from what I see. So I'm sure they'll find another reason to keep pounding them, and non-nuclear facilities, not just the nuclear facilities. All right. All right, let's see, go back to Fox. Who knows who they got on Fox now? Oh my God. Oh, Sean Hannity. I'm sure he got a heads up so he can get his game face on. American bombers hammer Iran's nuclear sites. American bombers. They like to use those bombers. They paid a lot of money for those things. So it'll be, the next few days will be very crucial. Now Sean's listing all the atrocities committed by Iran. See, Iran's got enough missiles that they can totally aim at U.S. bases in Iraq, in Syria, in Qatar, and whatever. But and in the sea too. But they know if they do that, they're gonna get smashed. So it's crazy, you know, what they're gonna do. I'm sure the U.S. side has gamed it all out, but like I said, wars get a lot of unintended consequences. American bombers, and this is another tweet: unconditional surrender. That's June. It was June 17th, so that was a few days ago. Unconditional surrender. Crazy. Let's see what CNN's saying. So, like, it'll be interesting to see if, like, America says, okay, that's it, we did our bit, so you guys have to figure out a deal. Iran FM said no room for talks with U.S. as long as there's no attacks continue. All right, whatever. So the next few days will be very crucial to see where this goes. If Iran retaliates, they're kind of in a weird position though, because if they retaliate, they're gonna get crushed, and they're gonna be living in the mountains forever. If they don't retaliate, they're gonna look like pussies, and their people are gonna basically kick them out, or they're gonna have no legitimacy. Because if you can't defend your borders and your country from outsiders, you're basically illegitimate. Like, it's all about power, being able to control the state. And if they can't control that, they'll get overthrown. So it's a weird dilemma for them. And I think, like, Israel has the pressure. They're not going to let it go. Like, why would they? So it depends on how determined the current regime, the current government in Iran wants to stay. the government of Iran. Look, Tom Cotton, he's happy. Look at him. He's gleaming. This is like neocon Christmas on Fox tonight. They're going to have fun tonight. This is better than the election for them. Breaking news. All right. You notice I don't put the sound on because they're saying the same shit. I might put the sound on. U.S. enters Iran. See this? They have definitely a different CNN definitely has a different take on it than Fox. Fox is like a cheerleader. Here they're like, basically, their analysis is saying U.S. is part of this war now, which implies continued action.
Terror apparatus loose on Israeli, American, and probably Jewish interests. And then, of course, you have Americans deployed in Iraq and Syria, which are vulnerable. That was true in the case of the killing of Qasem Soleimani in January 2020, and a lot of traumatic brain injuries on the part of U.S. forces and troops when the Iranians launched those missiles. We're going to have to wait and see. The Supreme Leader's got a decision to make, but it seems almost impossible to imagine, straining credulity to the breaking point, to imagine that this 86-year-old leader, whose goal essentially is to preserve the revolution and pass it on to one of his successors, can simply do nothing in response to what has happened over the course of the last, well, now it's the 10th day. He may have to calibrate his response, but I suspect we're not done with this. And for President Trump, this was almost, I'm thinking this was almost inevitable. It's not like a Nike commercial. Let's just do it. I mean, when we do something like this, the questions have to be asked, can we? And we could. Should we? And what's the impact? Clarissa points out the end state. That's absolutely the case. You can destroy Fordo if you don't change the regime and the acquisitive capacity to enrich uranium and remain a nuclear weapons threshold state. What in the end have we really accomplished? You've bought time, probably a lot of time, but the story's far from over.
There you go. There you go.
I want to go to Jim Shudo, who's been looking.
See, that was very interesting comments. Basically just saying, see, this is the narrative, I think. This is interesting. U.S. enters Iran-Israel conflict. So, like, CNN saying U.S. is entering the conflict, implying continued presence, right? And it's almost like a conditioning, like a switch from, like, we're not involved to we're involved. And, like, okay. And nobody's going to, and if judging by X, if you look at X, it's like 90, it's like North Korea level approval ratings here for this war. And there are a few dissenters, and they're getting kind of attacked, as, like, called all sorts of names. Thomas Massey, he's one of, I think, like, the only Republican, I think. So it's crazy. The only congressman, I guess. But
Essential to the regime's survival, and that their calculations are not like the North Korean leadership. They look at it not just.
they're going to keep going. That's what CNN's saying.
As their insurance policy. That insurance policy has just been deeply damaged by Iranian strikes over the course of the past week, and now potentially, catastrophically damaged by these U.S. attacks. So their survival question becomes: do we have a better chance of survival by negotiating now with the U.S. Or by trying a way to resurrect this program, right? And you can destroy the facilities, the technology you cannot destroy, right? Because Iran can find other partners. One of its partners is Russia. Russia's
There you go.
terms with the U.S. right now, and Russia and Iran have been getting quite close, given Iran's support for Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, supply of drones, etc. Could Russia make a calculation to come to Iran's rescue over the coming months and years in terms of resurrecting its program? Possibly. That should just be
but just a note of caution. Yes, there have been attacks in recent years where Iran has not responded to the degree that many feared, including to the killing of Soleimani. But Anderson, you and I and others currently on the air now, we remember the thoughts in the wake of the Iraq invasion in March 20, going back to 2003, that looked like it was over in the weeks and months afterwards, and of course it wasn't. And there are a lot of attempts at regime change in the region or military campaigns that didn't end as quickly as the initial hopes indicated.
There you go. That's kind of what I was just saying. CNN's prepping the people for a continued conflict. Like, it's kind of weird how they're just like kind of just tiptoeing it. Like at first, it just how it evolved, and it started with Israelis bombing the Iranians and starting the whole thing with the Iranians, and basically, it somehow the U.S. decided they're gonna get totally involved in it. So it's crazy. It's crazy, and now they're like basically conditioning the American people to say, "Okay, it's a done deal. This is our war now," and I don't know if they're gonna pull it off. It's it's crazy. All right, let's see what Al Jazeera enemy, not my enemy, but U.S. President Donald Trump says we have completed our very successful attack on three. That's kind of interesting. Completed, I guess, but that doesn't mean they won't do another. He's just talking about this specific attack. Anyway, let's go back to Fox, and then we're gonna look at some American bombers hammer nuclear sites. All right, that's enough. You get the picture. And I think this is kind of like Fox is doing the point. They're just concentrating on the strikes and how awesome they are. Oh my God, there's Levin. God, you knew this goblin was going to show up. Him and Hannity have a weird thing. They love each other.
They didn't take Donald Trump's words seriously. They should have. They should have listened, as he said.
Or they seem to, at least. Anyway, Fox is doing the rah-rah, and CNN's doing the like, okay, we're in this for the long haul. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm not really... I'm not very optimistic, let's just say that. Let's just go through the day and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Quick analysis. You knew things were going to go down. Seymour Hersh's scoop that there was going to be planned action this weekend. He was right. Here, Fox News just doing B-2 stealth bomber graphics all day. So, it was like the worst kept secret. Alright. Calling it like a Top Gun movie. That's exactly what they're doing this. Fox is doing like Top Gun, basically. Let's see what this goblin here says.
The United States military, we just kicked their ass. We just took out what they've spent 4 years trying to build, and hundreds of billions of dollars with the help of the North Koreans, the Chinese, and the Russians, and anybody else they can get. We took out those sites. The Israelis laid the foundation. We brought our bombers in that weren't touched, not by a moth. Dropped these massive bombs, blew them to Kingdom Come, and left. There's no other military on the face of the earth that could do that. There's not a...
All right. I don't know what he's trying. What are you getting at, Mark?
It's the guts to do what President Trump did. Let me give you a little walk down history lane. In 2006, Bill Clinton.
All right, I don't want to listen to this goblin. What a goblin. You know he's going to ask for more. You know that's the thing. This isn't enough. They need more. They want more. We already seen that. Like CNN basically saying, get ready. U.S. enters Iran-Israel conflict. That's the message. Okay. Anyway, let's go back here. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see what Trump says tonight. All right. Heavy smear campaign going on right now, attacking America. First patriots as isolationists. Hope everyone using this bad persuasion knows that it associates them with the worst Bush era neocons. Be smart. So yeah, lots of attacks against people opposed to the U.S. getting into a new war. We'll see who's right. This is a crazy story. Iranian who killed someone in England gets another chance to stay in Canada. That's ridiculous. Our refugee system's so bad. Here, look at a 78-year-old Brampton man charged after ignoring a construction flagger on Highway 17. Yeah, that's a big no-no. That's like passing a school bus. Brampton man strikes again. All right. Next post. It would be one thing if Iran had launched a surprise attack on Israel, although it would be seen as humanitarian intervention given Israel's conduct in Gaza, which, by the way, they are still blowing up people in Gaza. But we're on the verge of joining Israel after they launched a sneak attack on a country that we were negotiating with, at a time when Israeli forces have massacred people waiting for food 4 days in a row now. There's no moral justification whatsoever, nor is there even an argument based on American interests. Just that God wants us to do it, and Iran is going to nuke Los Angeles. So yeah, Martyr Made, he's going all in on this. I like him, he's good. It's craziness. He's just calling it as he sees it. Steve Bannon, he looks pretty disgusted. What's he saying?
In this unfolding aspect of the Third World War.
He's calling it a Third World War.
I'm just reporting what I'm hearing from pretty good sources. The party is on. So another big weekend in this unfolding aspect of the Third World War. And no, anyone that's telling you that the Third World War is not here is absolutely does not understand the development and evolution of kinetic. That one.
Yeah, he seems pretty, he called it, like he was actually saying a few hours before the bombing took place that it was on, so he was right. Clint Russell. If Iran had done a tenth of the things to America that America did to Iran, we would be chanting death to Iran. Hell, if a quarter of Americans are already ready to chant it just because their TV says so. So yeah, we're talking about Fox. Rah cheerleading. Expect that to continue. Oh God, that goblin's still talking on there. So yeah, it's true. Like Iran's been becoming just a big punching bag. It's kind of crazy. We'll see how many more hits they're going to take before they finally give up. We'll see. It's crazy. Putin talking about building reactors there. They signed contracts with the Iranians, so we'll see how they react to this. They might slide some weapons over, bleed the Americans a little. Oh, Bannon's calling a world war. Same, a lot of people. This is a good post. Operation Warp Speed Mission Creep. When the Israeli and this is Michael Tracy. He's been pretty good commentary on this. He's basically saying what, I agree with what he's saying. I've been saying the same thing. Mission creep, basically getting us in like it's like quicksand. And when I say us, I mean the world, because we're all going to suffer from this. I remember this Israeli bombing campaign was first launched on June 12th. A statement was put out under Marco Rubio's byline claiming that the action was a unilateral work of Israel. Dopey pundits and influencers insisted Trump had been betrayed or sabotaged by Israel. Then, within a matter of hours, Trump takes credit for the action. Within a few more days, Trump starts openly referring to the bombing campaign as the joint U.S.-Israeli mission, proclaiming we now have full control of Iranian airspace. He orders mass evacuations from Tehran, threatens to assassinate the Ayatollah, and demands unconditional surrender. Then he approves battle plans for a U.S. bombing campaign. Vast U.S. military assets are rushing to the Middle East, and now we're all waiting for a final authorization that could come at any moment. So he's obviously referring to the bombing that just took place. But yeah, they ain't gonna stop. It ain't mission accomplished. Mission creep. So this is the story of the day, was the B-2 bomber, Rus or whatever, basically the worst kept secret that they were going to get bombed. It was like the worst kept secret. I honestly think Iran knew it, and they already skedaddled out of there. This is funny. Ted Cruz, what a dummy. He's kind of a fat, out of shape loser. How dare you imply I'm compromised by Israel? That's funny. Okay. Next. Iraq closing its airspace to Israeli jets dramatically increases the chance of Trump dragging us into the party. This is before the bombing. Yeah, can Iraq really enforce that? This is a good poor air travelers. Indian guy has the seats to himself, so he's like, I'm gonna pretend I'm in my living room, and takes the old feet out. Yeah, welcome to Canada. Deport. If the next two chairs are open on a flight, should you be allowed to put your bare feet up as a footrest? A scene on the footrest, a scene here on this return flight to Toronto. Return flight to Toronto. No. All right, next post. Deport report. Rafael, something closer to home here. Rafael Martinez Moreno is charged with sexual assault of 2 women. Faces forcible confinement and assault charges. A lot of these South American ones got to deport. Not just Indian ones. We're going to get the South American ones. Oh. This is the tweet we read earlier. Oh, some Indians get caught dumping garbage in Brampton. Wow, that's a lot of garbage. They were just going to leave it there, and someone stopped them and made them pick it up. There's a place. It's called a dump. It's not actually that expensive. I had a whole whack of stuff. It was like $20. So take it to the dump. It's disgusting. Look at that. Look how much it's in there. Jeez. Next. There's the breaking news. This happened just as I was going to go on. I knew it was going to happen, too. I had a feeling in my bones all day. Time for peace. As long as you do whatever we tell you. All right. Vincent Oshana, who's very funny, and I agree with him on a lot of stuff. Definition of war. According to international law, Using military force against another sovereign state, especially preemptively, constitutes an act of aggression, which is the legal basis for war. So we're officially at war with Iran. So if you're American, whether you agree with it or not, you should just say, hey, that's an honest question. Are we at war with Iran? And there hasn't been a declaration of war. It's so weird. But all the stuff that U.S. has done to the Iranian government, to the economy, like literally killed Iranians, it's like you think there'd be a declaration of war. Like, it's weird. So weird. And here's the moment I'm talking about. I said, I'm getting this vibe tonight. This is the vibe I'm getting. It's the vibe I'm getting, man. Hold on. Remember this? This is when they first invaded Iraq. Saddam and his sons skedaddled out of Baghdad, and basically the U.S. Baghdad fell, and the U.S. owned Baghdad. But there was far from over. There was a lot of resistance outside of Baghdad. Thousands of troops injured, wounded since this video. So that's the vibe I'm getting tonight with Trump's mission. He's kind of got a mission accomplished vibe going. So we'll see if he's right, or he could be right. He could be right. I don't think so. Very unpredictable, these wars. So a lot of people on X think this is a one and done, but with Israel determined to topple the Iranian regime, there's definitely more to come. That's what I think. The question is what? What? And this is a reminder in Palestinian territories in Gaza. It's so horrible. I can't watch it. I'm not going to show it, but kid getting blown up. So no battle, no fog of war, no dynamic environment. They're just sniping little kids knowing it will be on camera, and their online influencers are laughing about it because the world doesn't care. Yes, it's disgusting. The way they've dehumanized the children there, millions of them. There's 2 million people there, and a lot of them are really young, and just disgusting, whatever. Now we're doing this Iran thing. It's crazy. And there's Israel wants nothing less than regime change in Iran. Like, you're going to see tomorrow when Israel starts talking. They're going to say it was good what President Trump did, but more needs to be done. So Emily Schrader, she's a whatever she is, propagandist. Discussions ongoing with the U.S. and Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi for the day after the Islamic regime falls. So, yeah. It's not just tonight bombing, it's... Okay. Martyr Made, he's really active. The one silver lining to all this is that everyone left, right, and center now knows that Israel controls U.S. foreign policy and that most politicians and conservative media personalities are foreign agents. Yeah, it's going to be a big... It's crazy. Like... Israel basically starts the hostilities against Iran, open hostilities, and basically drags the U.S. into it. And Americans are like, go USA. So now that Trump has basically destroyed Iranian nuclear infrastructure, Israel should be satisfied now, right? 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 No, they won't be satisfied. And we'll end it tonight with Dave Smith. I like Dave. Donald Trump has now launched an illegal war of aggression against Iran. The risk of an absolute catastrophe is very high, and the benefits are non-existent. Worst of all, he did it on behalf of a foreign government against a country who posed no threat to us. So, we'll see. He could be right. He could be wrong. But it's definitely, it's just a start. Just the start of the hostilities, I think. I don't think it's gonna end tomorrow. Even if the Iranian guys said, we give up, we'll do whatever you say, just leave us alone, they'll find another reason to get rid of them. So this is far from concluded. So the main point, I think, with Dave Smith and me, people like me, that the only reason we wanted Trump in, the main reason, we couldn't care less what he did, is keep World War III from happening. That's basically it. And this does not advance that agenda at all. So we'll see where it goes from there. And that's it. So I'm going to log off and watch this Trump address. And then back at it tomorrow here on X at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we can we'll discuss what Trump says, and who knows what'll happen by tomorrow night. It's weird. We're in a weird news cycle where it's like literally moment by moment, there's like breaking news all the time on the stupid TV. I know it's bullshit, but a lot of people are going to be all like, a lot of craziness going to go on. Watch your back, man. So anyway, everybody have a nice night. Enjoy the summer, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thank you.